Good morning. It's the first weekend in May. This is one of my favorite times of the year. Well, to be quite honest, anytime it's sunny and not raining is probably my favorite time of the year. But this early morning walkthrough of the garden is one of my favorite things to do at this time of the year. I thought I'd bring you along and show you some of the things that I take a look at as I'm going through and seeing what's going on and what needs to be changed and deciding what to do next for my garden. So come along. So here we have the wonderful roses in bloom. I missed showing you the azaleas fully in bloom earlier in the month, but those will come back shortly because they are Encore Azaleas. The pink azaleas at the end are basically fading at the moment, but they also will come back. Let's go take a look at my shade garden. This is where I'm actually expanding the garden to include more shade plants. That azalea bloomed a little while ago and it has already faded. Over here, I'm trying to save my hydrangea. When we had the house power wash, it really did impact this hydrangea quite a bit, and so it looks very bare at the moment. I cut off all the dead leaves, but the good thing is it does look like some of the buds survived, and we will be getting a few blooms this year, probably not as much as we expect for a 3-year hydrangea plant. I've added in some hostas, as well as some good hummingbird plants, and I'm going to continue the bed further down, add another azalea and some more hostas. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and this is definitely in shade. We have got this wonderful, beautiful tree, this ginormous tree that creates a massive amount of shade. Now that the leaves are coming in, it's absolutely gorgeous. But it does create this shade garden here on the side of the house. This is my new bed. It's actually 2 feet deeper than it was before. Previously, it had come to here and out another foot or so, or a foot and a half. But when I had to replace the bed because of the rotten wood, I ended up reconstructing it in a slightly different manner. This is bee balm that I purchased from the local, oh, that's not going to survive. I purchased from the local Master Gardener sale yesterday, and so I'm putting it here. I'm also going to put the ginger as well as the turmeric in this bed. We also have some columbine and some salvia here already. As you can see, the bed got extended. All of the rotten wood was replaced. The strawberries aren't doing very much strawberrying. They probably need to be fertilized. Here we have some tomatoes. These are called Tiny Treats. I purchased them and they already had some nice little buds going on it. So I cheated quite outrageously. I have some sweet basil next to it with some marigolds, some garlic in the background. And then over here, I have another tomato plant. That one is a small little cherry tomato, so that's an indeterminate. Behind it, we have some squash. I will show you that closer in a minute. Continuing on, we also have some snow peas, marigolds, more tomatoes, more squash, more basil, more marigolds. Here is catnip, and here is French tarragon. Here we have purple coneflower, also purchased from the Master Gardeners, black-eyed Susan. Here we have some eggplant and some purple basil and some regular basil, as well as a sad-looking marigold. We'll see if they survive. They were exposed to the power washing that impacted the hydrangea. The lavender is looking lovely. It is starting to bloom. Absolutely gorgeous. We're actually going to continue on. Here is multiple pepper plants as well as tomato plants. So something you're going to notice throughout these beds is some of them have straw mulch and others don't. This one is partial, and the reason some of them don't have straw, this particular one, I just planted radishes all amongst the peppers, the tomatoes, the marigolds, all through here. I'm going to use radishes as a cover crop to help suppress the weeds. Once the radishes get to be about an inch tall, then I'm going to go ahead and throw in some wheat straw to help further suppress those weeds. But in order to give those little babies a chance to get through the soil, I'm going to wait to put the straw down. As we're going through, you'll see that it seemed patchworky on the straw, and that's the reason for it. So let's keep going. So from this bed, we're coming over here to another bed of peppers. These are the hot peppers. We've got Scotch bonnet. We have jalapeños. We have ghost peppers. We had Trinidad peppers here. So those of you who've had my fire dust, that's where that's coming from. Over here is where I planted the carrots a little while ago, and I'm very happy to see that the carrot babies have come up, and we are going to need to start thinning those. I'm going to give them another week or so, but as you can see, they were heavily planted, so I will have to go and sacrifice some so that others can survive. Here we have radishes, and we also have beets that were planted at the same time. And of course, continuing the theme of marigolds, here we also have some chives, garlic to again help repel those bad bugs and attract the good bugs. Back there, you see that we have Spanish lavender. Let's go take a closer look. And you'll notice that it is slightly shaped differently as far as the flowers. They don't produce as strong as a lavender smell as English lavender, but they bloom earlier. They're very popular amongst the bees. I'm surprised I don't have any on there at the moment, but they must all still be sleeping. Behind this lavender, we have some not so hot peppers. We do have one cayenne pepper here, but these are yellow peppers, and in the back I have some beans. I try to sprinkle beans and peas throughout the garden to help replace the nitrogen. And here is the backside with tomatoes. And I have put the bush tomatoes here in the center, and then the cherry tomatoes to grow right along beside the grid line so they have a chance to grow up. And you'll also note that I have peas growing here as well. Now this lavender plant here is English lavender. It is still looking kind of scraggly. It is bouncing back. I'm going to have to probably give that another good trim. Over here, we have horseradish. See how ginormous that has already gotten? And behind it, we have multiple volunteer chamomiles. They came back last year, so they're already starting to bloom, which is great. I need to go grab that and harvest some of those this morning. Along the fence line, we have snow peas, and we also have cucumbers. This big frond thing, surprisingly, that is asparagus. I decided to go ahead and let some of the asparagus grow out and flower. This is still a young asparagus plant, so I want to make sure that it has lots of rejuvenation for years to come. So I went ahead and let some go to flower. I purposefully plant dill right next to cucumbers. They work well together, so does the peas. Moving on from the asparagus, next to that, I have what I call the oregano bed. This is absolutely wonderful oregano. You see how tall it is. It's ready to harvest. I'm going to go ahead and cut that back this afternoon and start dehydrating that. So I have oregano all year long. Behind it, those are the snow peas, and you will see that some of them are blooming. Let's take a look. See, those are blooming, that's blooming. And so I should have snow peas in a little while. And I also have down below, right here, I believe that is either a volunteer carrot or volunteer dill. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. Here I have sweet alyssums as well as a bush tomato plant, and then another tomato plant right there. I do have some radishes that I still need to harvest. They were looking kind of sad, so I let them grow a little bit. Let's see what happens there. Moving on, next to my oregano bed, I have my squash bed. I have no doubt that I will get squash bugs. The nasturtium and some of the other plants that I've planted around them will really help dissuade them. it will reduce their population. And the best thing that I do is I look at them daily and I squish the little suckers as they appear and I remove the eggs. And that really does help. So here in this bed, I have a combination of zucchini and yellow squash. I also have onions, garlic, sweet alyssums, marigolds. I also have some snow peas. Unfortunately, I had put in some of these plants prior to the house washing, and also after the house washing, they really struggled. I've already had to cut back. I cut off all the leaves, but as you can see, some of them are starting to develop powdery mildew. So I have been spraying them recently with a combination of baking soda, Castile soap, and water, and both sides of the plant. And hopefully that will help dissuade the powdery mildew. And it actually does look a lot better than it did. But I really do love how these squash plants look. I love their big leaves. With the big leaves, it's really important to turn them over to look at them to make sure that there are no eggs and no bugs themselves. Across from the squash area, we have the other bed that I showed you earlier. These squash look really good. Those are actually acorn squash. We have spaghetti squash. They are heavy viners, and so they're going to vine up over the trellis. And I couldn't resist putting some herbs and some other hummingbird verbena that they were really like. And unfortunately, this guy got also hit with the house wash, pressure wash stuff, and I've been trimming it back, and he's actually looking a lot better than he did. Let's go take a look at the pollinator garden. I did trim back the camellia right after it finished blooming. It's important when you trim the camellia, you do it right after bloom before it sets the new buds for the next year. So I did whack off a considerable amount. It's no longer reaching the top of the first roof, but it will hopefully branch out a little bit more and bush out. So here is the pollinator bed. I think I'm done buying plants. At least my husband hopes so. The bee balm is looking really raggedy. Again, it was impacted by the house washing, but I went ahead and purchased some more bee balm from the Master Gardeners and planted it here in the corner. We have our zinnias, our black-eyed Susans, dill in the back. You'll see some new plants that I put in. I finally got a hold of some more milkweed because it didn't look like milkweed was coming in. And I purposefully, when I purchased it from the Master Gardeners, I made sure I had some friends already on it. And I know I have at least 2 caterpillars on them. Can you believe it? That's the Lantana that I cut way back to the ground. And it is starting to grow rapidly. I'm excited that it wasn't impacted by the house wash. Here we have our curl honeysuckle with some petunias. The honeysuckle has already started vining up the trellis, so that's exciting. Across from the trash cans is the native yellow honeysuckle that is actually starting to grow more flowers. You see the buds that are starting to form. My butterfly bush, I had to cut back a lot of the extra dead leaves. Again, got hit by the chemicals from the power wash, and you can see that some of these leaves are still curled. I may end up cutting back those branches as well. But the front part of my butterfly bush is looking wonderful. It is growing tall. Let me see if I can give you a perspective. I'm 5'1" really closer to 5 foot than 5'1", but you see it's already taller than me in places. Here we have the Canna lilies that are going pretty well. I'm a little concerned. They do seem a little off. They're not as bright as they normally are at this time of year. It could be the chemicals. I've given them a good water, but I may have to trim back some of the leaves that are coming up. So there we have it, the May walkthrough. I hope your garden is doing well. I would love to hear how yours are doing, any challenges that you've had this past month, and what you're planning on doing coming up in May. Please join me in this journey. Go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Thank you guys so much. Happy gardening.